Hi, everybody. It's Fiona Lewis from Super Savvy Business, and welcome to this week's podcast. Now, as you all know, I'm very, very big in the world of mobile and mobile marketing. Mobile really is the biggest wave that has hit us since initially, I think, since the internet started in the late 90s. The mobile technology and where it's taking us as business owners and the marketing opportunities is absolutely huge. And anybody who's not already thinking about a mobile strategy really is going to be left behind if they don't put something into place now. Now, anyone who's been around me for a while knows that I do talk a lot about the importance of having a mobile website or a mobile responsive site and thinking about how you can market to mobile users, because it's estimated by 2015 that more people will actually access the internet through a mobile device than through a desktop device. So as a business owner, we've always got to be thinking, how are we going to access our customers through these mobile devices? Now, obviously, the first thing you've got to think about is your website good enough for a smartphone or a tablet device? But then there's lots of other ways that you can access your customers through mobiles and tablet devices outside of a website itself. And one of those things, of course, is apps. Now, I'm sure everybody is familiar with apps. Most of our listeners, I'm sure, are already using apps. But are you using apps for your business? Or have you even thought about using it? And for this very reason, I've actually brought on a guest today to talk just on this topic about how you can market your business through mobile apps. And today we are so lucky. Only about a month ago, I came across Brian from Webflex. And Brian and Webflex work really, really well in helping business owners create mobile apps that are going to help them grow their leads and their business. And I was so super impressed when I met him. It seemed very, very clear to me that this guy knows what he's talking about. So just to give you a bit of a background on Brian, he's been involved with the computer industry since the late 90s. And, he became quite passionate about this industry and became a general manager of an online educational company called Future School. And that really opened his eyes up to the world of technology and the opportunities they present. And this role had him traveling all across the world, including China and Sri Lanka. And he dealt with huge companies such as Telstra and Intel at executive levels. So you can tell that Brian really has a really good background as far as computers and computer technology and the online space. Now, in 2011, Brian took the leap into starting his own business. We all know how daunting that can be, especially if you've been in a high executive role, such as the sort of role that he was in before. And with a couple of colleagues, they founded Webflex. Now, Webflex is a software development company, and their signature product is Biz4Mobi apps. And this is where I became really interested. When I first met Brian and his partner, and we started talking apps, my eyes started to light up, and my mind was thinking in overdrive, because I'm always looking for business owners who have products and services that are going to be complementary and offer value to our super savvy community. So I had a meeting with Brian and his business partner, and we started talking about what they do. And I knew straight away that I needed to bring Brian to Super Savvy community. Now, first of all, let's welcome Brian. Brian, thank you for coming on our call.
Thank you, Fiona. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, as I've already given you, the introduction, but you might just want to tell us a little bit more about Webflex and what you do, just as a little precursor before we get talking about apps.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Webflex Technology, we started, like you said, back in 2011, and we sort of took it on as being a software development company, and that included doing websites and specialised websites and things like that as well. We ended up bringing another partner into the company that's an actual developer, a very smart gentleman, and it was his idea to say, right, why don't we start doing apps? There's definitely a clear market out there for it. So we actually done the research and decided that we went to market in the first instance, going out to restaurants, hotels, clubs and that, just with the concept idea. We wrote it all up and we went out there and presented it to the market, and there was definitely a need there. So we went along those lines and we started to develop it. It's probably been about 18 months developing the actual software to it is today. But yeah, it's just becoming that type of thing that every meeting you go to, you like yourself, when we go to yourself, is that the eyebrows raise. Everybody in the first instance, I think, when they think of app, they think of a game like Angry Birds and things like that. But
Mm.
once you start to talk to them about their business and how they can use it in business and how they can talk to their customers, that's when the light goes on and everybody starts thinking, hey, I've got to have one of these for my business.
Yeah, look, and I mean, I'm sure you of all people would know about these stats that are quite amazing, staggering, really, that more people will be accessing internet through a mobile device in just over a year's time. That's the Morgan Stanley research. So you guys, I guess, in being in the mobile industry, are probably more keenly aware of where this trend is going than most people. Did you want to share a little bit about your knowledge as far as
Oh,
what's happening
yeah,
in this field?
definitely. Yeah, the smartphones, they're basically about 65% of the population has a smartphone these days, and it's on the increase. Even the demographics, you'd be surprised, when you talk about ages and everything like that, everybody think, oh, the 18 to 24-year-olds would be the ones that have more smartphones than anybody else. But it actually is, you've got the 35s to 40 is actually around about 23% of the market owners, where the 18 to 24s are about 18. And a surprising fact, even the 50, 55 plus is close to 10%. Everybody thinks the older generation aren't really on smartphones, but everybody's going across that way. So the demographics are just the way things are going up. They talk about people actually accessing the internet now. So on smartphones and tablets, they're accessing the internet more than they do on their desktop. I think you're starting to find that with desktop PCs is that they're becoming more of like a work tool, not a social tool. So you've got the iPads and tablets, and the smartphones are really viewing platforms at these stages. But if you want to start doing things like in Excel and things like that, that's where the computers really comes into itself these days.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the way that people are even accessing internet has changed. Like you say, once upon a time, if you wanted to access the internet, you'd sit down at a desk and you'd have your internet time. But I guess people now, with the influx of these and how cheap mobile devices are these days to access internet, people are accessing the internet all day, every day. Like whether they're on the go, they're standing at the supermarket checkout, whether they're waiting for the kids to come out from school. We're constantly online, aren't we?
Oh, that's it. It doesn't matter where you go. You'll get a couple at a restaurant. They look like they're in love and they're both on their phone.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
just one of those things. It's in your hand all the time. Nobody these days get up like out of their lounge to go up to the computer to turn it on and really go in and just say, I just want to get a telephone number of this organisation. They're straight on their phone or their tablets and they're viewing. You see something on TV. The old days you used to see something on TV and you say, oh, remember next time I'm on the computer, I'll look at that. These days you see something, you're sitting there and straight away you access it. So it brings that whole marketing capability as a much stronger media
Yeah.
straight to your devices, and people start to use it. They actually say there's statistics out there too that actually says that the ads on a smartphone get viewed 86%. It's a strong viewing rate, and there's an action off that's still around the 70% or so. It's because the devices are smaller in what they do, and it's more precise of the ads. They're bigger. They're on, they're right in your face, so you take more notice of them. When you go on a website, because you've got all that white space, you get an ad, on the top right or bottom left or wherever, it can get lost on the big page.
Oh, exactly. That is so true. Now, one question I know that probably a lot of business owners might have when they're listening to this is, obviously they're thinking, well, I've got my mobile website. Why on earth would I need an app? So let's just overcome that objection right here and now, Brian, because I think
Yeah,
it's really
yeah,
important that people understand that, what we use a mobile website for is completely different to the sort of application you can apply to
yeah,
a app itself. I use the
yeah.
word app
Look,
3 times in one sentence. The application you can apply to an app. I'm not sure that
true.
sentence made any sense at all, but I'm hoping everybody understood what I meant.
Look, when you talk about going mobilised, look, mobile websites are an important part. Mobile apps are an important part. They've both got their place. You can have both, and that's the power of it. An app's really a tool of convenience for a customer. So, for argument's sake, when you want to go and view something, you want to go to a business more often, having that little icon on that device is so easy just to click, and up comes their information. You don't have to think about opening the browser, bookmarking it, or honestly, how many people do bookmark these days? I'm not too sure. But you know, you don't have to do the www dot where you type it wrong and everything like